Here is how to set up a new pro fingerboard. First of all, let's go over what you need. To start, you're gonna need a deck. I have this 36mm soldier bar with these board slide rails. This thing's already been used a little bit, so I'm gonna repurpose it and make it into a new pro setup that I can use. Next up, you are gonna need trucks and wheels. These are both some pretty generic brands from Amazon. I tried to keep it pretty budget. These are a cool shape, and I thought they'd look pretty cool on this 36mm. Normal fingerboards have these more straight ones, so you might have something like this, and your wheels might differentiate. Here are some cruiser wheels. They're a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger all around. These are some normal street wheels. They're a little bit thinner, usually CNC or urethane. And then these are like Amazon wheels. You can get those on Amazon. They work well, they spin well, all that. These are some pretty hard wheels, kind of looking like some pyro style. So we're gonna put these all here. Next up, you're gonna need a tool. Most fingerboards come with a tool like this. So if you have that, you're okay. And then you're also gonna need scissors or a little nail file, as well as whatever fingerboard you got. If you got a full complete, I would recommend getting a complete. It'll come with everything you need, and it'll be everything you need to start getting into more professional fingerboarding. I'm using snow tape from Bullgod, one of my favorite companies. I think it'll look great with this white deck, and I have a pretty good surplus of it. So let's start putting it together. The first thing we're gonna do is we are going to attach the trucks. Now you could attach the wheels, but I usually put trucks and then wheels. It does not matter though. Unscrew these little bolts. You can do this by hand. Now turn over the board. Now you're gonna wanna get your tool, or I have a screwdriver because it makes it go a little bit faster. Now you can put one into a corner, and then to install the trucks, you wanna make sure that the part that's like this is facing the outside rather than the part with the bushings. The part with the bushings, which are these little things in between, and the nut should be facing the inside of the board on both sides. So you wanna put the truck as it should be. And then you can go, and with your tool or screwdriver, you can tighten the first one in, not too tight, so that it can still spin a little bit, so we can align it. Now you're gonna take your next screw, put it into this hole, and you're just gonna do this for all of the screws. You're gonna wanna make sure that they stay pretty tight so that you don't have any loose trucks wobbling around. Once you're done with that, you're gonna take the wheels and you're gonna lay them on. Make sure that they these little holes in these, you're gonna wanna put these so that the little concave in this is facing out. So now you wanna put these over, and you wanna take this. I personally like to put it into my tool and then put the tool on here and twist until it can spin, but it's not super wiggly. Okay, so now that you've put the board together, there's only one final step, which is the grip tape. Here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need the board. You're gonna need grip tape. I have bullgod thin, China tape, snow tape. For this one, since the board is pretty white, I'm going to be using the normal white tape, but only for the back section, because I like having this grip tape, the China tape or the bullgod thin, on the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut about half of this of each. So now this is going to be the tail of the board, and this is going to be the front, and these I'll use for a later project. So you can just use normal tape. This all applies the same. You can either do a build like this, which has the holes on it. You can do a build like this, which has no holes and has a design. One like this, if you have both like I do, like a checkerboard pattern kind of thing. Or you can do one that's just plain with no holes or anything. I think this setup looks really clean, but I like all of these. This grip tape is great because you have the holes, so you can kind of show where to position your fingers for different types of tricks and all that. It's really all up to preference, honestly. So what you're gonna need to do that, you can either use one of these little files that should come with most full completes for fingerboards, or you can use scissors. I prefer to use scissors because I get more accuracy, but if you don't have a nice pair of scissors lying around, it doesn't really matter. So, to start, you're going to take your grip tape, take it off, see which side's which, just double check, turn it upside down if you're just doing a full one, but since I'm doing a grip tape design, I'm gonna keep it like this, and you're gonna kind of put it somewhat like that. It's a little bit off, but it's good enough to actually take it off, redo to make it a little bit more accurate. Now I'm going to take the snow tape and I am going to put it just a little bit off of this one, so I have a little bit of a gap. Put that down. Now you're going to take your nail file or your scissors, doesn't really matter, and what you're going to do is you're going to hold them. So you don't want them all the way down like this, and you don't want them all the way up like this or like this. You want them about this angle. Now you're going to take it and you're just going to go like this, making sure to press down. Just go like that. And once you get to here, what a lot of people do is they go like this here, and that gets a really not great design in the front. You're going to want to keep that angle, and you really want to go all around it like that. Pull it down here, and the same thing. Just pull it like this, and then you'll notice it starts coming off a little bit. The snow tape, if you have that, ends up having a pretty messy edge. If you look at this, it has these little kind of crevices and little break-offs because it's overall a pretty hard tape. So don't really mind that. They'll come off the more you use it. Hopefully you'll be using it a lot, so it'll come off pretty quickly. So you're going to want to do this. Just go all around. Once you have the first outline of the board, you're going to want to start by pushing down pretty hard on the sides, and it should break off pretty on its own. You don't want to skin the board though. Pull it off a little bit. You'll get these little messy bits. You can put these in a trash can or off to the side before you put them in a trash can. And then you can pull this across and just keep that going. Now, if you look at this, it's almost done, but there's this little bit hanging off, this little bit hanging off, this little bit hanging off. So we're just going to do that over them pretty quickly. That one came off. This one's kind of annoying. You might have to kind of rub it with your finger a little bit. And this last one should just be a little bit of doing that. Now I'll actually take the file for this. Get that last little bit off. The file's pretty good because sometimes the tape separates with the adhesive and leaves these gross little adhesive bits all over that we don't want. So, now your pro setup is complete. Give it a little bowl test. I'm not great on bowls. Now, what I do is I usually have a ledge. If you have something random, like, for example, a little box, this works great as a little obstacle. If you even have a pencil, you can use that to practice your ollies over, or a paintbrush, whatever. So a lot of people put tape down on the table to train their stuff. Anything that you can do to add a little bit of extra something to your fingerboarding is great. I have this, and it slides great. Those board rails I put on off camera, those slide butter smooth. The tail slides pretty well, and that back has a decent amount of pop to it because of that white tape, and the front has a decent amount of control because of this tape. Let's do a little bit of a test to see how good this thing is. I'm using this as a little bit of a launch to get some extra height so I can do some cool flip tricks and stuff like that. You can do them on ground. I'll put some tutorials for some ground tricks, some flip tricks, some ollies, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's just get some clips with it. Great board. Super happy to be adding this to the collection. This is a soldier bar with some, I don't remember the brand of trucks. They're pretty generic and some pretty generic wheels, but I had them laying around, so I thought I'd make a setup video. Love bullgod tape and all their obstacles. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what full complete you got.